Hello students. In the previous class we have seen the structure of rhizopus. Rhizopus is a fungus called as bread mold in common language. So today we will see the life process such as nutrition and respiration in rhizopus. Now we have seen that rhizopus has got the root-like structures called rhizoids which grow into the substratum. Substratum means any food particle where it is growing is the substratum. So the place where it is growing is substratum. Into that these rhizoids grow, and you can see the erect hypha. These are all hypha. Erect one is called as sporangiophore, and on the top of it there is a circular body called sporangia in which spores are produced. These spores, when they fall again on another substratum which contains its food, it will again grow into a new rhizopus. So let us see how they do their nutrition. The rhizoidal hyphae penetrate the food material and secrete digestive enzymes. These enzymes convert complex food particles into simpler nutrients which are absorbed by the hyphae. So what they do is they will produce the digestive enzymes and release the enzymes out into the surrounding food material. Then the food material gets dissolved, and after that it becomes liquid like, and that liquid is the digested food which is absorbed by the rhizoids and supplied to all parts of the fungus. Okay, so here the digestion is taking place outside the fungal body. Okay, now second life process is respiration. Molds respire aerobically. That means they take in oxygen like us, only they need oxygen for respiration. They take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Only a small amount of oxygen is sufficient for their growth. However, they cannot grow in complete absence of oxygen. The respiration occurs by diffusion of gases across the hyphal walls. The word equation for this aerobic respiration is as follows. So, in an equation, we have two substrates here. The first substrate is the food in the form of glucose, and the oxygen is reacts with the food. That means it breaks down the food, and what does it release? Water, carbon dioxide and energy. This energy is used by the rhizopus for its growth and to produce the spores. Okay, now here there is a term called diffusion. What is the meaning of diffusion? Diffusion means the movement of particles from the place where they are more in number towards the place where they are less in number. So here what happens? The oxygen which is outside in the atmosphere is more compared to the oxygen inside the cells. So the oxygen will move from outside into the hyphal wall, into the hypha through its wall. So the wall of the hypha allows the oxygen to move inside. Same way, the carbon dioxide which is produced will be moving out of the wall into the atmosphere. So that happens through our nose, but here it is happening through the surface of the hypha. Have you followed? Okay, now let us do an activity to observe the growth of bread mold. For that, we require 2 petri dishes with covers, 2 slices of bread, a glass slide, a compound microscope and water. Procedure: how do we proceed? We take 2 petri dishes and then label them as A and B. Then we put a moist piece of bread in both the petri dishes. Moist means it contains some water. Then we cover it. Both of them we cover, and we place A outside in the at the room temperature in our lab, and another one we place inside the refrigerator, and we will leave them for 3 or 4 days. After some time, so after 4 days, if we see, we find some cotton like structures growing on the bread slice present in petri dish A, but there is no such growth in petri dish B. And if we take a piece of this cotton like wool and prepare a slide, that means put it on a slide and see under the compound microscope, we find this type of structure. This is the bread mold or the fungus that has grown on it. So it contains the rhizoidal hyphae, sporangiophore and sporangium and spores. So sometimes you might see at your home also some black dots are found on the leftover piece of bread. So those black dots are the spores which are produced on the bread mold. Okay. But in case of the petri dish B, which was kept in the refrigerator, we don't find any growth because here the temperature is very low. So what we finally conclude is that the conditions required for the growth of bread mold are warm temperature and moisture. Have you understood this? Okay. Now this is called as mushroom. This is also a kind of fungi. Now see here, these mushrooms are easily visible to our eyes because they are quite big in size. The mushroom is the largest fungus. It can be seen growing on decaying wood and grassy grounds during the rainy season. You might have seen in our school also, there in the garden you can see these mushrooms growing during the rainy season. Some mushrooms are edible, so they belong to a group called as agaricus, while other mushrooms like toadstools, they are poisonous. They belong to the group Amanita. So you have to remember, mushroom is the largest fungus, and one edible mushroom and one poisonous mushroom. Now let us see what are the useful fungi. Now, useful fungi. Like bacteria, fungi are also decompose dead plants and animals and release simple substances into the soil which are utilized by plants. So, we have seen that the bacteria breaks down the organic matter into the simple substances. Same way fungi also does that, and the plants can use the simple substances like nitrates, sulfates, whatever are present in the soil. Then yeast is used in for making the bakery products. It is added to the dough where it uses the sugar as food and breaks it down into carbon dioxide and alcohol. This makes dough rise. That means in the bakery, what happens, they include the yeast along with the dough, that is the wheat flour, where you mix it and then prepare dough with the help of water. And what happens, this yeast will use the sugar present in the dough as food and then convert it into carbon dioxide and alcohol. That's why it tastes a little bit sour, and the dough will rise high. The paste for idli and dosa is made by grinding dal and rice. It is left for a few hours, and after some time it becomes light, fluffy and sour. This happens due to the action of yeast on the paste. So here also it does the same thing. It breaks down the glucose and converts it into carbon dioxide and alcohol. So when the carbon dioxide moves out, because it is a gas, it will come out. It makes the idli and dosa mixture fluffy. Okay, and the alcohol turns it into sour. Alcohol and alcoholic drinks are made by fermentation of cereals and molasses, which produces ethyl alcohol. So when the cereals means rice, wheat, barley, all these are fermented. Fermented means they are added with some fungi and left it, then the fungi will break it anaerobically. Then it is called as fermentation. And molasses means the sugar cane. When you take the sugar cane and then you ferment it, that part of sugar cane is called as molasses. Okay. So here wine is prepared by fermentation of grapes, and where by fermentation of barley. So grapes produce wine and barley produces beer. Now the antibiotic penicillin is obtained from the fungus Penicillium. It helps to in preventing diseases caused by bacteria. So this penicillin is mostly used whenever a person becomes sick due to the bacterial action. Then they give this penicillium and the person becomes okay. That means the disease is cured. I hope you have understood. See, these are the bakery products. This is the idli and this is the penicillin. Okay, girls.